Oh. Had a little technical issue, but I'm back on the air. I just want to thank you all for your love and support. It really means a lot to me. Now, today on the show, the conversation with Mr. Inspirer, I am very honored to have a very good friend of mine who also is one of my biggest inspirations. And I love him from the. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome my good friend, Justus Martin, into the show.
Hey, Ron.
How are you?
Doing good, man. I'm doing good.
It's an honor to have you on the show.
I'm honored, man. I'm really honored.
So, my first question is, how long have you been playing football?
Since I was 10 years old,
What motivated you to the sport of football?
my dad used to play it, and I liked it as a kid, so then I started to play it.
That's very interesting. I think family motivation is a really huge
hmm
key because you learn so much and you get a different perspective of the game from the coaches who are also former athletes themselves who played the game to the to the fathers who
hmm
are also athletes themselves,
Yep.
and now today's generation of athletes. I
Yep.
think it's really amazing to see the amazing support system. System. What advice, speaking of fathers, what advice did your father give you about the sport of football?
The advice he gave me, I would, I would say, just never give up. Even when you're at your lowest, never give up.
That is a very interesting point. Have you ever thought about have you ever thought about giving up?
I have a lot, but I never gave up. I pushed through.
It's very interesting that you just said that you feel like you've had those thoughts in your head. Why did you have those thoughts
Because
in your head about giving up?
Because when you think football's not easy, not any sport is easy. You gotta
Hmm.
put in the grind. You gotta put in the effort to start. It's all mental. You have to think, oh, I don't want to start. I am gonna start. You gotta put in that grind. You gotta put in that work. It's not easy, but you just gotta do it. And sometimes you just think it's too hard. I want to give up, but you should never give up. You should always chase your dream.
And I'm actually glad you said that you should never give up and chase your dream. You us athletes and as student athletes too, I applaud you guys because you're sacrificing so much to play the sport that you love. And one of the biggest sacrifices is, time with your friends
Mhm.
and family because remember you have to travel
Yep.
to the games, you have to be at practice
Yep.
by a certain time. Now, when you were playing football, did your school day, yes, did your school day start before everybody else's?
No.
what I mean by that is, did you have to come in early and hit the weight room, look at the tapes and stuff?
Well, yeah, sometimes, yeah.
Yeah, put that
We
in
don't
the
have. It's not mandatory, but you should do it. Like I would say, if you want to be the best of the best, you gotta look through the tapes. You gotta review. You gotta look at that playbook every single day. Even when you don't have
Yeah,
practice, you gotta work out. You gotta do stuff to keep yourself in shape, or you're never getting to be one of the best. Because people are doing that, and when you're not, you
right.
gotta top them.
And of course, it's not easy.
Hmm.
Just put it on top for now. Put the cards. Yeah, cards. But I'm pretty sure it isn't. Not yet. You can watch TV though. I'm pretty sure it isn't easy because you have to bring your A game. Yeah, all the
Hmm.
time. Yeah.
Yep.
So, do you feel that you are also sacrificing your education?
I want to say that because I'm in honors and I'm getting good grades. I get merit roll and stuff. I want to say I'm sacrificing my grades. But I feel like some people, they will be sacrificing their grades for it. I mean, yeah, but sometimes when you play football and the the coaches will take you before practice and they will tell you you got to get your grades up before you can practice with us. They will tell you that.
And you just hit it right on the head, Justice, because I remember having this conversation with you all the time. We talk on
Hmm.
Instagram, which I'm going to explain how I reached out to you in a little bit. But that is really absolute. Yeah, put stuff away. Yeah, put it away. That is actually really true because you have to realize, in order to play the sport that you love, you have to maintain that certain GPA.
Hmm.
Because if you don't, you really have to work 3 times as harder to boost back that GPA. And now it's a different time
Hmm.
from when you're in school now to when I was, because a 65 was considered failing. Now it's
Yeah.
considered now it's considered a passing
Passing. Yeah.
grade. Passing grade. So you just really gotta maintain that, and you have to have at least a C average in order to be just to be considered.
But people gotta remember, we're student athletes. Students come first before athletes. They gotta remember that.
Not yet. And you just hit it. Watch TV. Put everything I'm just. And you just hit it right on the head again. Yes, you are a student athlete, but you have to remember that you. Not yet. Go ahead, watch TV. That you are a student first. Because if you don't maintain that certain GPA,
Hmm.
what's going to happen? You will
Can't play.
suffer the con. You got to suffer. You're going to suffer the consequences.
Hmm.
And if that consequence is you're going to be benched, you have nobody to blame
Except you.
but yourself. Because the reality is, you are, yes, you have a brotherhood. Yes, you have a brotherhood
Yep.
and a sisterhood because and now girls are going to play.
Hmm.
We can't leave them out because they're just as good.
Yep.
They're
I got a
just
girl on
as
my
good
team too.
as we are and everything. But you
Can't
have to
you can't
remember
count anyone out.
exactly, exactly. You can't. You should never count anyone out. Everyone deserves a fair opportunity,
Hmm.
but with risk comes reward.
Very true.
And when I was in college, I had a professor who followed the NCAA standards, which meant that they check to make sure that all the student athletes are passing the courses
Hmm.
and to make sure that they're attending their classes.
Yep.
Because if they're not, then they wouldn't be able to be on that team because there's a certain GPA you must have in order to stay on the team.
Yep.
And it also varies from the state too,
Very true.
because different states have different GPA requirements in order to be on the team. So that's very interesting as well. A lot of student athletes have been impacted by the pandemic.
That's very true.
How did the COVID pandemic affect you?
Well, first start off, it did affect my grades a lot. I was very late because I couldn't go outside and stuff. I was in my room all day. I wasn't in shape. I was just in my room. But then one day I just had a wake up call and say I need to get my life back in check. So then I started working out, get my grades back in check, and then that's when football started up again. And then that's where I'm at right now, putting the grind in. You can't never stop the grind.
You know what? Hearing you say that you've been really, as a student, really, a lot of the students who are also athletes, who aren't athletes as well, they
Hmm.
really have been impacted by this pandemic because the schools couldn't be open.
Yep.
They had to do in-person learning, then back to virtual learning or hybrid, meaning one week you go into classes, the other week another group comes in, and then one day it's virtual for everybody, and that takes a huge risk because that's a lot of stress on everyone involved,
Hmm.
especially the teachers, because they're the ones that spend a majority of the time preparing for the lesson plans, making sure that everyone's logged in. Because remember, these systems was something that they weren't taught.
Hmm.
And how can our teachers be better prepared in case we enter another pandemic? There's going to be a lot of questions that they have, a lot of questions that the parents have, a lot of questions
Hmm.
that the students have. Because you got to remember, from the time you enter the school building to the time you leave, you are a family,
Yep.
and it affects everyone. How did the COVID pandemic affect your practices and your game schedule?
Well, wait, what did you say again?
How did the COVID pandemic affect your practices?
Well, effective practices because we couldn't even practice because of the pandemic and it made us stay in the house. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And like so, people got out of shape. People were struggling because they're losing their jobs, and that's the bad part about that, which sucks. So then, people couldn't drive their kids to like football practice or anything, stuff like that. So a bunch of kids had to quit. So like that sucks.
Do you Now I know you would respect the decision that the coaches make and the state makes because you have to follow
Mhm.
state guidelines and health guidelines as well.
Yep.
As well. But I am just honored that you're being brave about it, opening up to me and telling me how you really feel
Mhm.
because you are truly a remarkable young man who has a lot of potential.
Yep.
And I'm so lucky that we've met and that we met. So it's really
I would like to
powerful.
say, Ron, that I'm glad I met you, and a lot of people really need you out there, man, because everyone, like, because of the gas prices, they like really can't go anywhere, and that's what sucks. And like people are losing the motivation to play football because at my football, our practice is 2 to 7:30, and that's pretty long, and people don't have that like inspiration. And I feel like you can give them that inspiration. You know what I mean?
And I will continue to do that.
Mhm.
But I just want to let everybody know that I reached out to Justice on Instagram, telling him how proud I was of all of his accomplishments, not just on and off the field, but also in the classroom. And how did it feel for you to have a Special Olympics athlete reach out to you to say that you have motivated and inspired him in his journey? And I'm referring to me, by the way, as I'm saying this.
What you said?
I said, how did it make you feel to hear from somebody who is a Special Olympics New Jersey athlete? I'm referring to me, who you don't even know, reach out to you and say that you're his inspiration.
If I felt honored, man. Like we have a good relationship here. You inspire me every single day, man. And like it's like you're a really good person. You help people, and like I wish more people knew about you. You know what I mean?
I really wish more people knew about me too, but that's one of my biggest passions in life is to motivate and inspire someone else to make a difference.
Hmm.
We've all heard the expression, it takes a village to raise a family,
Yeah.
and the community plays a huge part. So, how did it finally feel for you after the COVID hiatus to play the sport that you love in front of your community?
It felt good, man. Going back out there, playing in front of people.
And I'm really glad that you are doing that. You are truly remarkable, Justice. And before I start off, let me give you some wisdom that I've already given you, but I'm just going to summarize it. So, as you prepare, because I'm pretty sure you're getting ready for scrimmage. So, as you prepare for your upcoming season, I want you to remember that you have to really work hard to get to the level that you are at right now. And the key word that I want you to remember is actually two: gratefulness and opportunity. I want you to be grateful for the opportunity that is in front of you to play the sport that you were born to play, because you have so much potential and you are a bright light, like a burst of sunshine. But also, you have a lot of people behind you, and it takes a village. Your teammates and your coaches are a part of that village. So never forget that. And also remember that you are the best of the best. And I will be rooting for you always. And I
Thank you.
thank you.
That
And
means a lot.
I thank you, Justice, for this opportunity to be on. And I hope
Thank,
that we can continue this conversation.
thank,
Okay. I just want to say it has been an honor and a privilege having Justice on the show tonight. But I also want you all to remember that you are all inspirations in your own way. You all have a voice in this world. So let your voice be heard. Use the platforms that you have. Stand up and make a difference. And you have the power to change. We have to remember that it doesn't happen overnight. It only starts with one person. And you can be that one person. And thank you all so much. for listening to this. I will upload this on YouTube. I thank you all so much. Have a great day, everyone.